Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to broadcasting 8 of our series Introduction to Agni Yoga. Today we shall be dealing with another existential problem of human existence. What happens to you after the death of the body? If you want to live properly, you must have a satisfactory idea about what awaits you after death. When your soul is eternal, then there is more which is important than just this one single earthly life. You do not take the immortality of the soul really seriously. Otherwise, you could never be satisfied with the childish, obviously inadequate explanations about afterlife, which the modern Western thinking has to offer. We had already noted in the broadcasting about the law of evolution. There is no end to the universe and no standstill, but only unlimited development. Once you become truly aware of the eternity of your spiritual being, you will no longer believe that you should rest and sleep after the death of the body in order to be woken up only eons later at doomsday. Still less you will think it possible that after the final judgment there will be a final, unchanging state which you will spend either in heaven or in hell. Your soul cannot die. According to its fiery nature, it cannot rest for an eternity either. It can only work tirelessly in all material and non-material worlds. The striving of the immortal soul to perfection cannot end abruptly with the change of existence. An eternal standstill is completely unthinkable and intolerable, even in heaven. Only motion is life. Standstill is death. Let us listen to the beautiful words of Goethe, or Goethe, as some of you might call him. For me, the conviction of our continuation arises from the concept of activity, because if I work tirelessly until my end, nature is obliged to allocate to me a different form of existence if the current one is unable to endure my spirit any further. If Western man wishes to advance in knowledge, to overcome outdated ways of thinking, and to step up to a higher level, he must make himself familiar with the law of reincarnation. On the way to a world religion common to all men, this Eastern concept is certainly superior to today's Christian teaching. This law states, your soul, after the death of the body, goes over to a higher world. After a certain period of time, you return to earth in order to be born again as a human being, not as an animal. Transmigration of souls is an appropriate term. Your true nature is on an eternal pilgrim's journey, which is spent on various spheres and planes of existence, where you use temporarily appropriate covers, bodies, in which you can act, but which you cast off upon leaving the sphere. It is of the utmost importance that you learn to comprehend your eternal journey as one single life, which only takes place on different material and non-material worlds. You should imagine your infinite existence as shown here. Your soul comes from the higher world. At birth, it descends down to earth to lead here in a perishable body a brief mortal existence as Mrs. Miller or Mr. Baker. At the death of the body, the soul returns to the spiritual world, to your true homeland, in order to continue to live there. After some time, it goes down again to another life on earth, this time as Mrs. Brown or Mr. Smith. So it goes on forever. Here we can see again what we have already discussed in our series Experiment Immortality. You are not Mrs. Miller or Mr. Baker. These are limited, temporary identities which will cease to exist already after some 50 or 80 years of time. You are your eternal being, your soul, which lives in different spheres of existence. We had already discussed in the series Experiment Immortality, and will describe in more detail later how you can train, let grow, and strengthen your eternal individuality. By the way, in the drawing here, the lifelines at the top are not without reason drawn longer than the ones at the bottom. You spend much more time in the spiritual world than on earth. From this too, you can see that up there is your true home and not down here. We had already seen, without the recognition of your eternal existence, your life is senseless, absurd, as the modern philosophers have found out. The striving towards beauty and perfection that you feel with such a force and certainty within yourself would be meaningless and futile if only one single earthly life would be available to you. This short period of time is not enough to come even near to unfold the gigantic potential that lies within you. Furthermore, why should you make any efforts at all to clean and to refine yourself if all that what you achieve is completely destroyed upon death. Unfortunately, this inappropriate view of the cosmic order induces many not even to try to come closer to perfection. On the other hand, the law of rebirth opens immense possibilities for you. None of your efforts will ever be in vain. Their essence is not lost with death, but enriches your eternal seat of the Spirit. The achievements, the good and bad qualities that you accumulate by the experiences of many lives are preserved as accumulations of the soul and continue to accompany you on your infinite path. Each life offers the soul new opportunities to grow, to gain experiences and to perfect itself further. That is, to improve its accumulations, but also to deteriorate or to lose them completely. There are no inherited qualities, but only those developed in previous lives. You should not seek achievements such as the liberation from bad habits just for one lifetime, but for eternity. The individuality, the unique character of every man, is formed by his eternal spiritual seed, the monad, meeting with the changing material circumstances, by the experiences that the ego makes in all worlds. It consists of those positive and negative accumulations which adhere to the soul. These are our true wealth. It is much more important to care about these accumulations than about things that we shall lose anyway, at the latest after death. These are the treasures, the eternal spiritual goods that we should collect according to the words of Jesus instead of earthly riches.
Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Let us hear again Goethe.
What you have acquired deep in your heart, you cannot lose by death.
The level of achievement reached in previous incarnations determines our current possibilities. It is the very purpose of the many incarnations to enable you to prove yourself under various circumstances, to get rid of outdated habits, and to acquire new, up to now still missing qualities.